Your Excellency, this interview will essentially center on the post-economic summit and the current drive to promote investment in Jigawa State. So in May this year, the first Jigawa State Economic Summit took place. Not only was it well attended, but many expressed interest to invest in the state. What practical steps have been taken or been taken to give teeth to the outcome of that summit?
Yeah, I think your question is very, very apt. After the summit, and because of the hope it was able to kind of raise and expectations and the interest shown by investors, it also opened to me, probably a bigger picture in terms of the challenges. And I feel that, all that goodwill we were able to garner, the attendance, the enthusiasm, and the discovery of the potential of Jigawa State as an investment haven. I feel that the only way I will be able to maintain the momentum is to transform the committee, which worked so hard for about 6 months before the summit, to bring the summit into that kind of reality, and therefore for the committee to transform or metamorphose into what I call advisory council to the governor on the investment in Jigawa State. And we had to set an office, and a number of things had to be taken into consideration that, we needed something which will minimize, the kind of, burden or pain an entrepreneur goes through from the way he wants his information. So instead of this, what they call, one-stop shop. And in that office, we have the ADG, who is a very, very senior person, who has a lot of, flair in investment and investment opportunities, and who is very, very well versed. And we're able to draw also the caliber of people to put there now as director and desk officers, whereby information first, when you come in terms of what Jigawa offers, the processes of acquiring land, the kind of, tax regimes we have, whatever kind of reliefs, anything which will make the whole thing very, very easy to meet up with the Jigawa reputation of being the most investor-friendly, environment in Nigeria, or the most investor-friendly state in Nigeria. So, that should be put into reality by making that sure that, those coming to invest, with all the information they require, with the minimum delay, and therefore by the time they go into it, the land processes, the taxation and what have you. So long as they're able to fulfill the national laws, thing in Jigawa here will be very, very, very easy. And because there are a number of MOUs which are really, signed at the close of the investment, it's part of the process to make sure they know what was signed as an MOU is properly pursued and really translated into actual action. And I'm happy with the pace so far. But it will be fairly difficult.
So the mandate of the council is it becoming a permanent body or an ad hoc body?
I don't know whether you call it permanent or ad hoc, but you see, it's for it to be able to at least to what I may say be the labor room. Like a labor, you have what you call the midwife who will be able to see the baby, and clean it. So I think their primary role is because they are the ones who sat down to draw out, the various modalities by which, the summit was to be held, the issues to be discussed, and to find out, what Jigawa has in terms of comparative advantages, in agriculture, in which part of crops, in what you call, solid mineral, what have you. They're able to really look at the state, in a more profound way, and with the support of DFID, which was able to give us what you call, the investor handbook. So this council is maybe ad hoc or temporary or whatever, but they at least it is supposed to first to be the main midwife, to be able to look at the various MOU signed, what investors are looking for, and then as come to the government and then be the link between the government and the entrepreneur and the investor. Because if you don't have the council, government is full of bureaucracy and red tapeism, and you find a number of the goodwill which have been really garnered during the summit may very, very easily evaporate or wither away. So I think the council is very, very critical at this point in time to be able to make sure they know all the kind of MOU signed, are really properly translated into action. And I think they're doing very, very well.
That means the council is removed completely from the mainstream civil service?
Absolutely. The council has a chairman. It has also got a director general who is the part of executive officer, and the council reports directly to my office, to me in particular, and so where they think they can fast track information, they do that, and away from the tapism, which takes time, and I think they're doing very, very well.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the issues that were raised during the summit. Jigawa State is blessed with abundant human material resources, but the identified thing then was that the economy is more or less of an informal sector, and the real sector is undiversified, and as at that time, foreign direct investment was limited or very low. What specifically has been done now, or the council will do, to rewrite this picture that was painted during the summit?
No, I don't think the council really. First of all, when we came as a government, what was the state? Its status, it had been rated, and it was in the economy. It was nothing to write home about. The agriculture side, is very, very subsistent. The institutions are very, very, very weak. There is no infrastructure, and now and the bureaucracy too was, literally docile, so to speak. And what you call a semblance of government and governance was not there anymore. And so naturally, an investor will not come to that kind of place, because an investor will be looking for the kind of environment to be able to give him the ability to be able to invest and make profit and then take his money out. And therefore, they need to have the environment. So before the council first, if the government which sat down to look at Jigawa as a state, and we had a little debate. How do we really erase the stigma that, what I may call that, black spot, which has been used to assess us. And I think we're lucky that, able to sit down and, like I said, look at the state and debate it, and see, in the area where we think we're very, very weak, where we're very, very lacking, and see what can we do as people. First, to be sure they we erase that, bad impression, and then put in place the required environment, which means a lot of money to be pumped into infrastructure. We've got the best road network in Nigeria, the best in Nigeria. The environment is very, very safe, and therefore security or peace here is a software. So it's very, very peaceful. And we have huge, huge, vast land, for irrigation, but then there are no channels. So, the potential are very, very huge. All right, but more important is for for us to be able to introduce the state to the world, to the entrepreneurs, to the investors, that in this state, you have all that trust you require to be able to make money, in dairy, in agriculture, in a number of things, and in solid minerals. So I think, our contribution first is to be able to lay the foundation. First, the infrastructure, a strong bureaucracy, functional institutions. So they by the time the entrepreneur comes in, he then deals with them directly, and he has no headache in realizing whatever he thinks he needs in terms of information. And the council is doing that very well. So I think in the last 6 years we've been able to give Jigawas, the stamp of authority that yes, we are prepared, yes, we are ready, yes, our doors are open, yes, we can be trusted, yes, you can do business here. And I think there is no better testimony to this than what the British High Commissioner said, that Jigawa is having for investment. And a number of international agencies were here. Lord Botem was here. Dr. Obasanjo was here, and a number of key players in the Nigerian economy were here. Aliko Dangote was here, and virtually anybody in this industry was here. And to me, that was a stamp of authority that yes, the Jigawa has finally arrived, and the president of this big names is the kind of testimony we're looking for, and we have gotten. And I think we can now go to the next level. That is, getting the various issues raised and discussed into reality, in agriculture, who are those who are coming here to invest in sugar, in sesame production, in leather industry, in solid minerals, in whatever it is, come here with the information, because we have a kind of, investor handbook, which was prepared by DFID, Department of, I think, it's a British kind of agency for foreign investment and support.
Can I take it that Jigawa State, the foundation has been laid, and the state is now set for what I would call the attainment of the aspiration of building a broad-based, competitive and dynamic economy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you see, and I mean, we haven't got an airport. So everything, was carefully planned, so that, by the time, the whole thing begins to materialize, to come, by the time the whole thing comes into fruition, you could see the synergies all over.
So, but what has generally been the response of those who express interest to invest in Jigawa during the summit?
They have been here. Dangote is here. Already he has identified an area around Miga, where I think he's looking for about 3,000 hectares of land. Obasanjo, too, his company is here. They're in sesame business. Abacha family are here. They are in the sugar industry in Hadeja. A number of others came, some of them are going into housing, into estate house, into estate. And really I'm encouraged by the response. And we are really working out the various modalities by which they can take over, because land has been acquired, and we paid all the compensation. In fact, we paid about 300 million naira, I think about 2 months ago, to be able to give the land to, I think, Abacha family, for the sugar industry in Hadeja, and the Dangote farms also.
What about attracting more investors and perhaps investable funds to the state?
I don't know what you mean by investable fund, because you don't get money for just to invest. Today, the less the government in business, the better, because by tradition and by history, government being involved in enterprise has been a failure. And more importantly, I think the banks are there, which are more than willing to support entrepreneurs who want to come to that, because the banks also know the potential, and they're also here at the summit. The banks were here at the summit, so they've seen the potential, and I'm sure they can very willingly, easily go into any agreement with any entrepreneur in terms of the loanable funds for them to be able to invest in Jigawa State. What we'll do, is to encourage them and make sure they know whatever they require to do in terms of the requirement of the federal government, to go and do some advocacy for those companies and make sure that when they are coming to Jigawa State, in terms of conforming to national requirements, national laws, things are made very, very easy for them, and we are more than willing to go and assist in that direction.
Yeah, you just mentioned that earlier on, that the council, the Investment Promotion Council, is going to promote a situation where you have one-stop shop that will fast-track the processes of ensuring the registration, acquisition of land, and perhaps a tax regime. So specifically, can you throw light on the incentives being put on, the general incentives being put on the table?
You see, incentive, the first one, first is the commitment of the government now that your investment is going to be very, very secure. That's the first commitment. Very, very important. Two, whatever you want in terms of making that process realizable, we are there for you. For instance, we paid some land compensation to our farmers. Government paid for that money, and that's a big incentive. And whatever you think we can do, the rules are there. It's also a huge incentive. And so really, it's up to them to come and say, okay, we want this, and we'll look at it and see how we can work around that to be able to make sure they we meet their own requirements. But lastly, is the level of willingness on the part of the government, the political will, the commitment to it, which is most important. And more than anything now to me is that Jigawa is a new window by which you can peep and see Nigeria, and that has been attained. And Anybody who come to our state, goes by, was wonderful memories, of wonderful people, who are very, very friendly, who are very, very hospitable, with beautiful environment, very serene, good climate, good land, everything. So see, this is why we have, really nature encouraging you to come, because nature is there for you, and you can make so much money here.
Let's take a look at the tax regime you mentioned. Some investors, some businessmen have been complaining of recent about multiple taxation, either from the federal government or state level or even local government and so many other things like that. So what kind of tax regime are you putting on the table to attract these investors?
You see, it's something you negotiate. You come here and then you tell what you want. And we look at it, if you want moratorium, we give moratorium. We can put some kind of, because we have to encourage you to come in. We don't keep on, you don't normally keep on milking the cow before the cow is fed. Either you'll milk the blood of the cow. So there are a number of rules we put in place for you to feel sufficiently attracted to come into it. And when we feel that you'll be able to attain a level which you're making profit, of course, yes. So tax regimes to us are very, very simple. They're very, more want to know that whoever coming to the gas station, let him first fulfill the national laws. When you're able to meet the national laws and our requirements, whatever it is, coming here to the state is a very, very simple thing. And why even they have difficulties in meeting some of the national requirements, we are more than willing to go and do some advocacy for them, to support them and help them come here. So incentives, are there, they are unlimited. They are unlimited in terms of incentives.
What about land?
I thought I told about, the land is available. You see, look, for those who are going to agriculture, we have over 500,000 hectares of irrigable land. But then there are no channels. Now, between our border to Kano State, up to the border in Yobe, it's about 20 kilometers. You have this river Hadeja running through the state. And the valley there is about 10 kilometers wide. So you have, a very, very fertile land washed, by the Hadeja River, and which is about 500,000 hectares. And you plant any seed there, it will germinate, any seed. So the issue of, fertile land, the water, surface water, underground water, we're good. If you, in Jigas, if you dig about, 1 meter, you have this pressure water coming out from nowhere. So the land is there and the water is there. And the investor, is something they can take advantage of, because everything here, everything which makes investors feel he's heavily endowed is here in Jigawa State. It's the havens of investors.
And what about land for factories, for industrial?
Bayo, tell me what you want. Are you going to go into estate? You want to go into agriculture? You want to go anything? Tell me how many hectares you want. I'll give it to you.
Just by asking?
Absolutely. By asking me, you are serious. Because by asking me, you are very serious. If you are serious, of course, yes, you'll get it.
You seem to be pushing an agenda of charity should begin at home with the event in Abuja last week, calling on Jigawa indigenes to think seriously of returning home to invest. Is the appeal being heeded?
Now, what we do with that, when the summit was held, because of the goodwill we got, and because of the hope it raised, for the state, we felt that it has to also be, the process to be also owned by the state people. And so what we did after that seminar was to call the emirs and the Marlins and political actors, and tell them, this is what we've done. So they cue into it, they feel into it, and then they know that what role they can play, where and how, and because it's currently in their own state, because the people first, this thing is for them. And so at home here, people have been thoroughly sensitized. The emirs, the Malams or the clerics, the ordinary people, political actors, NGOs, everybody just, at the state level here is now fully sensitized. Now, next, then we'll go to Abuja. Go to Abuja and then look at, the various ministries, federal government ministries, identified to have relevance, to in terms of this particular area of investment. Go there and then engage them, and then hold a meeting, a kind of dinner meeting with the Jigai entity at the federal level there. The civil servants, the parliamentarians, businessmen, all over Nigeria. So then they can then come and have that Jigawa Day dinner for them to know this is what we're doing, and I spoke intensely. And the DG also, came and gave them the history of the summit, and the area they can come in. And there was so much enthusiasm, because to them most of they didn't know about it. But then that singular action by which we had the dinner and the talks we had there and the lectures and the way the whole thing was properly put by the DG in terms of what that thing was, intends to do, created the kind of awareness. Yes, and since then people have been calling me, have been phoning me. In fact, they want land first to build their own houses, which is very, very important. And therefore they come and say, look, come, if you're going to put, even a grocery shop, or a bread industry, or pastry, whatever it is, anything. Because, Jigawa is a huge market. It's a huge market. And when you begin from this micro-economic kind of thing, this small industry, then of course you go into the bigger thing. So the calls were hidden, and a number of them, are talking to their friends and their associates, and there is this huge network of response coming up.
Would the roadshow be extended to other parts of the country, particularly maybe Lagos?
You see, we are people who are very, very ambitious, very, very ambitious, because we feel that we have what it takes to make the state great, and if people are going to Lagos, what are the attractions in Lagos? What are they in Kano? Something we can offer. And there's today, if you know what you call outsourcing today in this world, what we call outsourcing. You find an American entrepreneur will leave America and go to China or somewhere in the Asian countries and go there and start a factory. If you go to Bangladesh, most of the city people who in Europe are so in Bangladesh. So Lagos should not monopolize everything in Nigeria, or Kano, or Port Harcourt, or Edisha, or whatever. That there are other places where you can really go. The labor is very, very cheap. There's so much security, and there is abundance, of potentials for you to kind of make money and go away. So certainly we'll go to Lagos and talk, and tell people there, and I'm sure they know through the industry there that come here and open your branches or your factories. And when you produce the good, they can be taken anywhere in the world. And most of with the airport coming in, the airport which is going to be a cargo airport, for both the agriculture and other goods, there's this, huge potential in this state to drive it. And I think, we are still very much in a hurry. I still very, very ambitious. I should say, with a very, very large appetite, for development.
In 2010, the World Bank rated Jigawa as the most friendly, most investment-friendly state in Nigeria. You seem to have the basis for that rating. You seem to have done a few things to either to sustain that rating, or perhaps to use as a basis to draw investors. So, what do you think you did then that you are now improving upon that inform the World Bank rating?
Before I came in, there's the same rating in Jigawa done by World Bank. That was the poorest in the federation, with the highest infant mortality, the highest maternal mortality, the lowest performance in NECO and Y and so it is that aspect which portrayed Jigawa as a human zoo, which got terribly disturbed. And we felt that rather than being angry with the revelation, we thought that we should see it as a kind of challenge, and how do we reverse it? Because brooding about it, or simply screaming that we are not this blah blah will not help us. So what do we do to change that perception, if it's a perception, or what do we do to change that reality, if it's a reality? What do we do? And with a similar assembly, where we, in the year 2007, after my inauguration, we had a huge assembly, and where we made Jigawa the subject of debate as Jigawa indigents, across all, class levels. The elites, the bureaucrats, the businessmen, the clerics. We assembled the cream of the Jigawa society to say, look, this is the way we are being perceived in Nigeria by the rating of the World Bank and other indices of development. Now, let us debate it and see, were they right or wrong? If they are wrong, what do you do? If they are right, what do we do? And this was the foundation. And then we just took, well, okay, fine, let's take our future into our own hands, our destiny. Let us see first if we can save the state from ourselves, because it's our own failure first, which made the state to be in that kind of form, or in that kind of category. So let us save the state from ourselves. After saving the state from ourselves, then how do we unite them to work for the state? And thank God, because people were very, very proud, we felt embarrassed by that revelation of the World Bank. We felt pained by that. But then we say it's not enough to feel embarrassed and pained. What are you doing to tackle it? And so what we have today is the result of that kind of resolution, by which you say, we'll make sure they know that we'll clear this scourge and then restore Jigawa to the path of dignity and honor like any other state of the Federation. And thank God, by what you said now, the testimony that, yes, Jigawa has finally arrived.
Jigawa, the economic potentials and opportunities are limitless, the way you have painted it and the way people have written on it here in Jigawa State. Are you going to prioritize the areas of some areas, core area for investment, or is you are just throwing the opportunities open to those who are coming to invest?
Look, you don't tell an investor, you should go into this. He's coming with own money. He won't make profit. So allow him to find, the area to which he thinks he has the maximum interest, which will also maximally benefit your own people. And let him go into it. If you are coming for granite, sure, we have got the best stones in Nigeria, the best stones. What you see here, on this particular ground now, this granite you are seeing, which looks like gold or whatever, is Jigawa granite. All right? And if you are coming for cassava to make, starch, we have got the best cassava in Nigeria. Even IITA in Ibadan, IITA. We are working with them in collaboration, and we're building one kind of species of cassava, which is also the best, and therefore the starch in Jigawa is also the best. And in fact, only yesterday the DJ said that there's a company in Nigeria which is looking for about 40,000 tons of starch, and they heard about Jigawa State, and they are coming to see me, I think, sometime next week. We'll go to Kila, where we have the factory, and we'll see how we are going to work out. So either they lease it or they but then certainly you can produce up to 100,000 tons of starch per annum in Jigawa State. You have the sesame, you have the benny seed, a number of things, in agro, in solid minerals, in dairy, with the best beef in the entire country. If you go to Megatari market, the load from there to Lagos, to Port Harcourt, to other parts of the country, they load over 100 trailers every Thursday from that place. All right? If you go to Sarah Market, that's why you have, the grains market. It's something else. If you go to Gujungu Market, it's also food stuff. So we are blessed in so many ways. So if people are coming here, for grains, for dairy, for whatever, it's available.
There are also reports of availability of minerals like gold and others.
You see, Jigawa is well endowed, is well blessed, but then it's locked up. Now we are unlocking it. And when you unlock, the force by which the potential hit you, as you will feel like you'll be floating in wealth. Well, simply, you just unlocked it, and the force by which the potential are rushing out. It really has got investors totally mesmerized that they can't believe it.
You've spoken about the agricultural potentials of Jigawa State. I'm particularly asking a question about the initiative in the past that seems abandoned by successive government. Adubako introduced what was then called as agroforestry initiative, which saves even when there is poor rain, it saves the farmers from their experiences, the nightmare they face in getting sufficient water. Then the massive development of the Adija-Jamari River Basin, particularly towards Adija, in such a way that it led to a situation where tomatoes were being exported from those areas outside the country. Then suddenly the whole thing stopped. The few attempts to revive it was perhaps during the PRP government. For the 4 years PRP was in government. Then everything stopped. Are you focusing on that area too, in ensuring that the lot of the farmers who will be the key drivers in pushing these agricultural products put a smile on their face, ensure their happiness, and the key into this program that you are now pushing?
Now, let me first go to the background. Jigawa was part of Kano State, and therefore when Abolade came, he was dealing with a single state. And naturally, when it comes to planning in terms of development, most of the investment was done in old Kano State now, around Kura, and you have the Tiga Dam and so many other dams. And if you know, of the over 30 dams he built in the entire old Kano State, all of them are now in the old Kano State. But then the waters coming from Hadejama river, pass through Jigawa into Lake Chad. And so really the planning and the management of the state at that time was a little bit more for the better part of southern Kano. And I think there was an effort to correct this kind of I don't know what to call it. I don't think it's injustice. I don't think it, anomaly, if you want to call it an anomaly. That under Shagari, the focus was shifted to eastern part of Old Kano State, which is now Jigawa, and around, Auyo, on the Hadejia Valley. And the idea was then to develop, about 50,000 hectares of agriculture, with channels all over for irrigation purposes. And it needs a lot of money. But then, even though there was the pronouncement was there, but then in terms of commitment and the will to do it was not there. So in the last 30 years, a project which was to cost about maybe 10 billion naira, 30 years ago, in the last 30 years, they've only been able to put about maybe 300 million naira from the annual budget, from the budgets. So if what was done to Southern Kano was done in 1980s, therefore the land preparation on, at Auyo, in terms of putting the channels for irrigation, by now, that area would have been feeding more than half of Nigerian requirement on food requirements. And so I think, I don't know, but then you see the attention of governments, from 1980 was shifting away from agriculture, to this, scourge and this curse called oil. And therefore we look at abandoned agriculture. And to me, that was a big curse, because now we're not paying very, very dearly. If we'd done all the investment 30 years ago in those areas, by now what we are seeing, what I'm saying now, in terms of exporting food, be it fresh, perishable or hard, dry, would have been totally accomplished. So when I came in, and I think the last campaign, I told the president, and also when the vice president came here, I took him to that area. I said, sir, this place has been like this for the last 30 years. Now, you need to make a commitment to us, because there is no way we'll keep on ignoring this, but that, oil one day, even if it's going to remain forever, but then certainly we should also be able to feed ourselves. We cannot be importing food. You may have the oil, yes, but you can't keep on, using the money to buy food. You need to also put your own food so you can also export. And both the president and his vice, they need to do a lot of work in Auyo and put in more money. And I think before the election, there was a committee to put about 10 billion naira there. Well, elections are over. I'm not very sure, anything been put in there yet. So we're back to the same fact that, the commitment needed, the will to do the right thing, and the commitment to a promise is very, very important. And there isn't much I can do as a state governor, because my income is very, very small. And if you invest in that area, it's not investing for Jigawa State, but then investing for the entire country. Because the kind of food we produce so much, wheat, so much maize, so much wheat, so much rice, vegetables, a number of things. And like I said, we have put over 500,000 hectares lying fallow, waiting to be developed, waiting to be exploited. It's really putting the key to open those things, which needs also massive capital investment. And so the infrastructure of that has to be given by the government. And there's nothing, which one will say in terms of the benefit, if you are investing for the people, you are investing for the future, you are investing for your own security of food. And when you are investing for security of food, that means you are also creating employment, because if you have got about 500,000 hectares where you produce maize, you produce wheat, you produce, millet, and wheat and what have you, then it means you can imagine the labor for they are going to that play in terms of employment. And then what you produce in terms of the chain, value chain of the goods is something unimaginable. So it's simply having really the right kind of calculation, the right kind of focus, and the right kind of understanding of this issue, in a more profound way, to be able to address our requirements as a country which will be yearning for security, because the means is there for us to be secure. When we can put our youth, on the land to work, the country will be very, very secure.
Yeah. We hope Abuja will have listening ears. Yeah.
Yeah, please listen to me.
Observers of events in Jigawa said you started very well on assumption of office by focusing on the needs of the farmers, the peasant farmers. Now that there is an investment drive, which will probably lead to a boost in agro-allied industries and commercial agricultural farming. Mm-hmm. So what steps is being taken to ensure that the farmers themselves, the peasant farmers that have been on subsistence farming for long, are galvanized to take advantage of this expected boom?
Now, our citizens, our people, be they in Jigawa or anywhere in Nigeria, can be switched on. And you can restore the thing called trust. When it is restored, and then you have to govern, because then they believe in you. Whatever you say, they'll do it. Now, what is lacking is that in the last couple of years, maybe 20, 30, that basic element called trust is missing. It's the missing link, in our institutions. People don't believe government. Well, government is for people. People are government. We're here heading, their institution, which is theirs, the resources are theirs. We're here by their mandate. We're here for them. But in Nigeria, in the last couple of, it has always, been, leading you as a privilege. That even to be a governor, I'm conferring a kind of privilege. You should thank me for being your own governor. For being my president, therefore, I should thank you, sir, for being my president. I mean, it is a role reversal. The whole thing is put upside down, that institutions of government are for the people. And when people, when the government is working for the people, they will be able to link up with the government, and then that thing called trust will come back. And when they trust you, whatever you say, they will do it. It's as simple as that. But the problem, is how to restore this trust, because it has been, abused, it has been, vandalized, it has been scandalized. And so you could see the despondency in people. People are very, very, despondent, and, some of them even being, totally ambivalent or indifferent. You talk and they just look at you and they are blank, because they are not connected. Neither are you connected. Because government has become a means of patronizing its own citizen. And therefore, people don't have anything called right. That's the problem. But then the governments are theirs. When they know, and they should own the government. When they own the government, that the government is there for them, then things will simply change. So what we're doing in Jigawa is to, first, we had a kind of what I call Talaka Summit, which really defined our journey as a government in the last 5 years, what we're doing. Because I said, I'm here for them. I got on through their own vote, which they gave me on their own free volition. Therefore, there is expectation of me. in terms of the role I play in this office. And I said, fair enough. I said, look, to me, at that time I said, look, it's not enough for you voting me. It's not enough. You must stand by me all along. Because I just to be a part, I'm there for you, I'm working for you. Now, if you think by voting me, you simply go sit down there and mistaken. You have to say, well, I'm going, just like I said, I'm just like a driver, where we're a whole family of people in that bus or in that lorry. And the road is very, very rough. There are impediments, there are potholes, it's very rough. There are mountains, there are rivers. And I do not believe in what we call diversion. I'm going to go straight. I'm going to drive over rocks, over rivers, over mountains, over anything, and it's going to be very, very rough. So hold on tight. But I'm sure that by the end of the journey, we're going to have a road which is going to be first class. Therefore, drive will be comfort, will be bliss, which means by the time we get there, life will simply transform and change. And with their prayers, with their support, with their goodwill, we're able to even today say Jigawa is now open for economic summit, and people came, and by their testimonies, we feel that yes, people really have that to say yes, we thank God for rescuing ourselves from ourselves.
If you pay a visit, Your Excellency, to some supermarkets across the country, particularly the big ones, you see them selling imported meat from God knows where. And here is Jigawa State that is very, very rich in.
Why are you going to the market? If you look at all Nigerians, every Nigerian look at who's you and I, see what we're wearing. Why go to the supermarket? What are you wearing? This is not made in Nigeria. So why are you fooling yourself? You look, Bayo, we just have to be very honest. It's part of the testimonies revealed to me during this summit. One guy said, look, we Nigerians, we keep on fooling ourselves that, our factories are closed, that there is no power. It's all bankrupt. You're all talking bankrupt. Look, how can you have factories, functioning when the Nigerian people don't patronize Nigerian goods? He says so. And if you look across, wherever they go in Nigeria, 95% of Nigerian people are wearing, others can help clothes, what they call akirika. The Ronaldo, jerseys, the jeans. All our youth today, that was akirika, isn't it? Now all the elites, their suit, customized, from these designer houses. All the elites, wearing their Babariga, the Abada, the filter, the lace. I mean, and you say you want your factory running, how do they run? So stop saying that I should go to market and look for beef there. Me and you here as we're talking, and Nigerians who are also watching, all of us, what are we wearing on our bodies?
Shall we continue like that? It's still like Jigawa is blessed with livestock. And these halal meats that are being imported or brought from wherever are things that can be produced here.
What you see, first, it's changing the psyche. You see, it is difficult to get into the heart of people who have lost confidence, to get them switched on. It takes time. Our lifestyles, this country is hugely endowed. It's a country where you hear that, 50 billion dollars, of federation money is not into the coffers of the country. That's what you hear. It's a country where you hear, pension funds is simply missing. It's a country you hear where police funds are missing. It's a country you hear, all kind of rubbish. I mean, there's so much money. But you see, our capacity to simply keep on draining it is so, they know that, it's literally drained to the marrow. So, what we're in Jigawa is, it's really, we're not there yet, I'm not claiming any particular, attainment or achievement. But then what I think, we've been able to unite around our state. And they look at the state and say what we can do. Ignore what I'm wearing as being a foreign thing, like I've been saying. But then, there are some other things which we do, which are local, which are also affecting local lives, and therefore which is restoring hope and trust and faith in people, in themselves, and in system.
Is Jigawa set to take the advantage of cross-border trading because of its proximity to neighboring countries like Niger?
Bayo, you are talking in a very, very idealistic way, by imagination, theorizing. Now, what is, when you go through all this, your imagination and their theories and, scenarios, you have to be able to drop them on the ground. And that's part of the problem, we think in a very, very abstract way. It's all about, fallacies and fantasies. But the ground, where you put, is not there. So what I'm saying is that, what we are doing in Jigawa State is to restore faith in ourselves. It's a very, very difficult and challenging work. It's very, very difficult because of the aberrations of the last how many years. But I've been saying, look, if you look at the map in the world, some 40 years ago, it was Beirut, was center of commerce, of industry, of finance. And then the whole thing moved to Hong Kong. Okay, Hong Kong became the kind of powerhouse, finance and whatever. And then from there, it came to the Asian tigers. Okay? And then part of, mainland China. Now, today is gravitating towards, Middle East. You have Doha, you have Dubai, you have Abolade and others. You understand? Now, the world is normally pushed by men of ideas. What I'm saying is, what is it that they have, either brains or ideas or discipline or whatever, which we don't have. So fine, if we could see prosperity moving from Beirut to Hong Kong, mainly China, China to the Asian tigers, now to Middle East, why can't we compel it to come to Jigawa State? That's what I'm saying.
And that's what you are
Absolutely, doing. Absolutely. My desire and my wish and my prayer, and let me tell you, it is mark my words, it's possible. In the next 30 years, you're going to be talking about Jigawa. Like you're talking about, Doha, but you will of necessity be talking about Jigawa State. That I can say so. I may not be alive, but they say we are putting the foundation. It's all about, the discipline, the love for our own people, the passion, the feeling, the pride in us. We must be very, very proud. We must feel, pained by, poverty. We must feel, disturbed by, squalor and filth. I mean, the world is, we are supposed to enjoy God's, endowments. And we can do it. And gradually, if 6 years ago, we are buried, we're underground, nobody is ever, and today we're at sea level. I'm not saying whether, we're just at sea level. 6 years ago, we're below sea level. But we worked very, very hard to rise to a sea level, which we were able to regain our vision, to get our focus right, and therefore to get our bearings and say, look, we have a clear destination in our mind and we're going there. If others could make it, why can't we? I know it needs a lot of resources, also discipline and commitment. But then what is difficult in giving this thing, in getting ourselves disciplined? Why can't we work for our own people? Why can't we feel for them? Why don't we feel that they are our reflection?
How is Jigawa State tackling some of the constraints to business environment in Nigeria? The state is not immune from problem of poor electricity supply and the like.
Well, luckily for now, our industry are just very, very in terms of the entire of Jigawa State in terms of electricity is about, I think, 20 megawatts. This for the entire state. So you see, the worry they have, the generators in Lagos alone, can give Jigawa for the next how many years, all the power required. But I think more important really is the potential for huge revenue, for turnout, for profits. The main motivation should be the profit. What if you invest, you can get your money recouped and make profit. You understand? And then you look at what are the attendant costs, what goes into it, and the issues of running costs, whether through hydro or solar or whatever source becomes really unnecessary, because in your calculation, when you put all this together as part of the running cost of the investment, at the end of the day, what you produce can give you the kind of profit for you to finance it. If the answer is yes, then it means there's no problem.
Given the varied natural resources and the demonstrable political commitment by your administration to galvanize Jigawa State into greatness, at the summit, even after the summit, again and again, the question is being asked, what becomes of these lofty policies after Governor Sule Lamido must have left office?
And let me to be honest, I feel honestly, and I feel embarrassed when people talk like this, because who is Sule Lamido? Tell me, who is he? He's just an ordinary, normal human being. More important, it's what Jigawa people think of themselves. You understand? I mean, Jigawa people have been able to get them switched on. We're able to restore hope in them. We're able to restore that thing called honor and notion of self-esteem and self-worth in them. And when these are restored, then it means whatever is something they own. And when you own something which is yours, then you protect it. And therefore you support it. And you die for it. So today, it's not about Sule Lamido. If you reduce the whole thing to my own personality, then you're not being fair to my people. You're not being fair to them because I couldn't have attained what I've attained on my own. It is the collective effort of the people which is now the main engine. And Sule is just one of those, many small nuts and bolts of that engine.
So the hope is emulating what Dubai has become.
No. You see what I see? Stop fearing for the people. Stop fearing on their behalf. It is because they are so far away from them. Go to the people of Jigawa State, ordinary people, go to them and talk to them. And you can see the passion about, they believe, they believe in their state. The pride they have for their state. That feeling, that intensity of, yes, I must succeed. It's there. It is not being ignited. It's not Lamido. It is being released, and therefore, the skies are a limit. And that's why I say, of necessity, in the next 30 years, of necessity, you must talk about Jigawa when you're talking about the world. So, 30 years ago, if you've been to Doha, you know Doha? If you've been here 30 years ago, it's one tiny sleeping fishing village. Today, all the media in the world are there in Doha. The best, newscasters from BBC, from CNN, from Sky, from CNN, they are all today. They are all there in Al Jazeera. A sleepy, dusty fishing village.
So from nothing to something.
Because you see, there is something we have as human beings which cannot be exhausted. The brains, petroleum, iron ore, gold, whatever, and these are things which can be exhausted, but then you cannot exhaust, human brains. And that's why today, if you know what they call this ICT, from nowhere, Bill Gates has produced wealth from nowhere, from nothing. Nothing like, petroleum, nothing as a raw material, nothing like gold as raw material, nothing like coal, or nothing like banana leaves. It's just, simple ideas, the man was able to use his own brain. So today, Jigawa, we are giving our brains orders. We are commanding our brains to work for us. And when you command the brain, it is the capacity, to leap out and go to anything and then bring, results.
Including queue into the ICT world.
Everything, it's all about ideas. You see, when the brain, is released, then everything is attainable. Everything.
Your Excellency, in the last 1 hour, we'll be talking about the economic blueprint for Jigawa State. Maybe we could talk one or two questions on Nigeria.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You'll be meeting with the G7, as they are called now. We'll be meeting with the president on Sunday. Are you going to break the ice at that meeting?
Well, okay, see, first, what is G7 saying? What are the issues we are raising?
A lot of issues.
No, you see, it's very important because there's so much confusion. The issues are not about my aspiration or anybody else's aspirations. The issues are that, our party called PDP, the dominant party, which will be able to restore Nigeria and get Nigeria stabilized, for us to be able to go to the next level and confront human development, we must learn how to learn the party, on the basis of its own constitution. Therefore, the party must be principled, must be disciplined, must be law-abiding. These are the issues. And therefore, on these principles, there should not be a compromise to either give Sule or Jonathan or anybody any advantage, because they're talking about personal advantage. What do we do to give Nigeria the advantage? Because there's been Nigeria first before we talk about what we are going to be in this country. So it's all about, the way we think things are being done, and they're very, very wrong. So let's come back to the issue and see that the party is restored. And it's going to be very, very difficult. The party which gave Nigeria hope, the party which was able to restore Nigeria and get Nigeria stabilized, and in spite of the current difficulties, was able to at least now reconcile Nigerians, is making the effort now to go to the next level, which means tackling the issues of human development. So what is going on today in terms of the security affairs or concerns, the tension, the youth restiveness, the agitation, the strikes, is simply because people now are beginning to say, having been restored, having been stabilized, now we want to have something which will also define our lives as human beings, as citizens, which are rights. So it's just like a stomach. If you feed it now, after the next 3 hours, it wants more food. So what you're saying is that, for the party called PDP, which is part of what people have been saying, I've been saying so, call it anything you want, at least, became the hope of Nigeria and is Nigeria's hope. To me, it's not the issue of 2011. Between 2011 and 2015, that time frame of 4 years is already behind us, because the election has been done. It's simply we're just running into it. We're just running the process of that 4 years. But then for us to be able to come back in 2015 and confront demands from Nigeria in terms of their needs, in their country, some of rights, of their resources, the party must be very, very disciplined. It must be a party which is anchored, on law and order, on rules and regulations, not on impunity, not of this desire to appropriate institutions, for a personal benefit. So the issue is about how do we make sure that we create a problem whereby these aberrations, these abnormalities, this impunity in the PDP is being corrected. And that is very, very difficult, because the current actors, are in a government. We're talking about a party which is supposed to form another government. Now, when you have people in government who have no idea of the difficulties we went through, who have no idea of the issues in 1998, how the party was being formed, the problem we went through in trying to restore Nigeria and reconcile her, there was difficulty because this lacuna, political lacuna in them, they have difficulty appreciating what we are saying. I've been saying, look, there's a plant there. Give me the water. When the fruit begin to bear, when they are green, don't pluck them. Let them get ripe first. But people are too greedy. They are now plucking the green fruits, which are ripe. And when you pluck the fruits, from the tree which is not ripe, then you are also plucking you are also draining the nourishment of the tree, because you find it will be dripping, something like water. And so it's a very, very difficult thing to understand by those who thought, we are fighting an ephemeral interest. We are fighting something which is more fundamental, very, very fundamental. And it's only PDP which had the capacity to be able to lead the country, but it has to do things like, if PDP get things wrong, I just feel, my heart, shudder to think of the consequences. It's a matter of that we must do things right. All this, feeling, of infallibility, of playing God, of being me, control total, like in APC, Tinubu own ACN, Buhari own CPC and the APC or ACN and the people have no history like the PDP history. You understand? They are not an invention. PDP is not an invention of any person. Those other parties, are a creation or invention of personality. PDP is a creation of the Nigerian consensus, Nigerian interest. Those who believe in this country, those who suffer for the country, those who knew what they went through during the Civil War, what they went through, during, our evolution under military regimes, the difficulties and the near danger we were about to go into before it was saved. So it is not an invention. It's not a creation of this, individual. It is an aggregation of Nigeria's history and concerns, which have to be properly looked in, and therefore the only way we know we can save the country is by uniting around the country, around this consensus and interest. So then, how do we make sure that we sustain, when it is appropriated, when the party is being seen like ACN belonging to Tinubu or CPC belonging to Buhari, then it's a problem. Because PDP is not ACP. It's not ACN. So PDP cannot be appropriated. Now, for instance, if you remove Tinubu from ACN, it will collapse. If you remove Buhari from CPC, it will collapse. But in Nigeria, think of anybody who will leave PDP. Obijo, the chair board of trustees, he left. Nothing happened. Ahmad Ali, the chairman of the party, he left. Nothing happened. It remained. Gamadi, the chairman of the party, he left. What happened? Solomon Lau, the chairman of the party. So, it is a Nigerian aggregate, it's a Nigerian consensus, it's a Nigerian ownership, which cannot be ascribed to any particular person. And that's why, those who worked so hard for the party 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are not the main vision of what's called government. But you see, my worry is maintaining the sanctity of the party, to be able to maintain the Nigerian hope, to sustain it, and then give the hope it has been able to raise for Nigerians. And therefore, it cannot be appropriated. It cannot be privatized. It cannot be owned by a single person. So the whole thing that, Bamanga is simply messing up. Because he was chairman of Port Authority, he thinks also in PDP the CEO. Nothing like that. He has no idea how I won my election. He has no idea. He has no idea how the governor of Sokoto won his own election. He has no input. Nobody today in government has any input in the way the chairman of local government in the country won the election. There is no Banga who say he was instrumental to making Governor Fabio the governor of Akwa Ibom. He had no idea how Fabio became the governor. He had no idea how Susan became the governor. All those who are not talking as so-called gods of the PDP, who are not claiming God, had no idea how Susuan, Apabio, Lamido, Wamako, Konkoso, and many others, they have no idea how we became governors. They have no idea. It is a platform which is a Nigerian platform, which is shared by all Nigerians, to which Nigerians, have been seen as part of, which produced us.
Let's look at the newspaper banner headlines today. PDP set for make or mar.
No. You see, I think we are too mature to be dragged in that kind of level, because a number of people who are talking, if you look at even some of the articles which are sponsored, you laugh at it. I mean, because you could see the bankruptcy of the ideological party formation and party management. You could see it. It's all about praise singing. And I'm talking about the political party, not the government. And the party is owned, when people, that's why I say, you see, all the people who are now in their various offices, in PDP, as a governor of PDP, when they're voting PDP to which Lamido is the governor, not so Lamido or PDP, no. People in Jigawa are not voting for me. They're voting for the party. Because it is the Nigerian consensus. Because the Jigawa know, they know if you vote PDP, the guy in Akwa Ibom is also his own brother voting PDP. He also know that his brother in Bayelsa is also voting PDP. And the guy in Sokoto know that his brother in Adama is voting PDP. So there is this networking of solidarity, of understanding, of brotherhood and sisterhood. Yes, it is a huge family. Now, if you collapse it, instead of on voting PDP, You know, for instance, you know, in Jigawa, Ishola are voting. You are wrong. If you say, in Akwa Ibom, on the day of the election, you are voting Apapio, not PDP, you are wrong. If you say in Benue, on that day of election, when you become that you are voting for not PDP, you are wrong. So, on the day of the election, you know, if you say you are voting Jonathan, not PDP, you are also wrong. You see, it is the family symbol who are voting, and which then the incumbent, can the benefits. It's not the reverse. But then, you see, in ACN, people voting ACN, they know it was Tinubu who owned the party. They are quite aware of that. So they are voting Tinubu. In voting CPC, they know it is Buhari who owned the party. Therefore, they are voting Buhari. And because they are voting personality, that's why, you know, they are only relevant, you know, where they have this, you know, personal appeal. Because you know, a personal appeal of the personality, which has no national spread. But in PDP, it's the family platform, which is the symbol, which is being voted, and therefore we are all beneficiaries. So get me right.
So there is no make or mar party has been projected.
No, I mean, because it gives you the kind of, you know, sensation you to sell your papers. And of course, you know, and of course, there are others who feel that, you know, by the demise of PDP, they said again, if PDP is demised, I'm sorry for Nigeria, I'm telling you this, if PDP has some problems and we don't do things right, I'm sorry for this country.
But some of you are being targeted. On your life of suspension, is asked to face a panel, and you know, EFCC is visiting states and other things like that.
What is wrong with that? What you know? I mean, no. You see, you see, I think we're beyond that. We're beyond that. I was in prison under Abacha because he had an agenda, and I was also in prison. So, personal harassment or persecution or trying to humiliate or trying to even destroy, either destroy me as a person, so Lamido, or destroy my legacy and my family and my father, you know, history, or destroy my children, their own future, you know, will not in any way cow me or make me change my belief and my faith in what I think is right. And my entire way is Nigeria. That's all. It's, you know, but you know, how do we maintain this family, which has gone through a number of difficulties in the last 50 years of our independence? We've been through a civil war. I mean, if you know what happened in 1970, those who are now in Ghana have no idea what happened in 1970. I know what happened. If you know what happened, you know, in June 12th, those who are in Ghana have no idea what happened in June 12th. If most of them, 6 years ago, they have no idea what was called PDP. But then the difference between heading governments and them being political leaders. You see, you have the political leaders who form the platform before those who head the government come in. Get this, you know, you have the platform, the political parties, which are formed through some understandings, through some kind of consensus, through kind of history shared, through kind of beliefs, you know, for Nigeria, then which come together and then they field candidate and then they form the governments. You understand? You know, the governments are creation of political parties. Now they are trying to say, the political party is the creation of the governments. You can see the contradiction. So harassment, you know, my children being called, you know, thieves, you know, misinformation, you know, harassment. I mean, at my age, what else do I fear? I've been humiliated. I've been insulted. You know, my family has gone through a lot of pain. You know, my children are being called thieves. You know, misinformation, churning out, you know, false information, you know, to stigmatize me. You know, to paint me, to smear me, because what they are saying is all false. It's all false, and I challenge anybody in this world. You know, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Perfect. What I'm saying, you know, in this country called Nigeria, what they think are, I don't think I'm the number one thief in Nigeria, the way I'm being portrayed. Today, with 37 governors and the president and the ministers and commissioners and the ambassadors and council chairman and, you know, company executives, you know, in oil industry, you know, all these, you know, in banks, today, Sule is the number one thief in Nigeria. Today, it's all about Sule being the biggest thief in Nigeria. Isn't it? Of all Nigerian governors, I'm the only thief. Of all Nigerian families, it's only my children who are thieves. Of all Nigerian citizens, it's only my family who are thieves. Fair enough. All others in the presidency, in the government houses of over the state, in the banking sector, in the oil industry, what you have there are all saints. Running Nigerian, in Nigerian country, they are all saints. It's only Sule who is the evil Nigerian, who is the cause of Nigeria's problem. Only Sule, the thief. Fathering thieves as children. Father of thieves. Fair enough, let's see. So this will not in any way affect me. It will not, alter my conviction and my faith in what I believe is right. And like I said, whatever we're doing, especially that if we don't do things right, if we pursue personal interest, I think that nothing wrong with pursuing personal interest, but it should be subordinate. It should be behind the larger national interest, the larger picture. Get it subordinate. Don't let the interest first lead Nigeria. Let Nigeria lead, and then let the interest follow. But the reason we're doing, it is the interest leading Nigeria, and there's some difficulty. I have difficulty, in understanding this kind of thing.
Just a last question, sir. Yes. If this thing goes, which we have painted, refuse to allow the cohesion, the vision, and of PDP to be realized, what follows?
Struggle continues. You see, you do not simply relinquish what is yours. You don't do that. Whatever it is, if we are doing is right, running away will not make it right. Stay there and fight it out, because if you're running from difficulties because here things are difficult, you go somewhere else. When there are also difficulties, you also live there and go somewhere else. Then you become very nomadic.
So the APC option is not attractive?
No, you see, what I'm saying is that, we are willing to work with any Nigerian, any association, which is going to work on Nigerian principles, in terms of maybe what they call, coalition or whatever, but then running away from my house because of some heat to go into another house. In the middle of heat in that house, what do? I run somewhere again? So I will not relinquish what is mine, because if I do so, then I'm legitimizing illegality. It means I will leave the house, for what I may call, people who have no understanding of the way the house was formed or was built. We'll remain there, we'll fight it out until the rest is done. We are willing to collaborate, to go into any coalition, into any understanding with anybody, so long as we are working for the Nigerian cause, the Nigerian interest. I am willing to go into any alliances, into any collaboration, into any understanding. But then you see, leaving my house on account of the heat in the house to go somewhere would deny me the legitimacy to be able to say I can talk with some honor around me. Because they say, look, here too there's some heat. And where do you go to when there is heat? So we'll stay there and fight, we'll not allow PDP to be taken by scavengers. We'll not allow that. We'll stay behind, we'll fight it out, and we'll collaborate. We'll go into any alliances. APC are my good friends. Want to know, we are more than willing to go into real alliances for the sake of Nigeria. We'll do that.
Excellency, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bayo.